We're on the road. Where transportation goes, community grows. Welcome to On the Road with the MTA. And welcome to another edition of On the Road with the MTA. I'm Jay Gibbons alongside with Stephanie K from the MTA. How's Stephanie? You're looking at your phone.
I am, because we have a lot going on, and MTA has some new services we're adding, and they have a new app on your phone that you can actually...
That's very cool.
That app is going to be very cool. It's live time. You can find out where the bus is, where you need to pick it up, and how long it take you to walk to that bus station from where you are. Yep. And we're doing a little presentation tomorrow on that. So I was getting some of my media friends to come and check it out.
Very good.
So see, I'm working. I'm still working.
Yes, you work and you can walk and chew gum at the same time. It's amazing.
It wasn't a fun game or anything. I was actually working. But now that we're in the studio, I love this because we have a guest inside the studio, and it's Shelley Hoffman.
Yay.
She's been a great friend of mine for years in the past, and I love that we've done theater together we just talked about. But she's now at the shelter of Flint. And what is your title over there?
Vice President and Chief Operating Officer.
Ooh, big title.
That does sound kind of impressive, doesn't it?
Sounds very impressive.
Vice President. Okay, Miss President. I love that. Well, so now what does that mean you do?
A little bit of everything.
How long have you been there? Because I know you were other places.
About 6.5 years now.
Has it been?
The time has just flown by.
It does.
It's such an amazing organization, and I work with such incredible people that every day feels like something special, and 6.5 years has flown by without even realizing it.
Well, you have a passion for it, and I can tell. I mean, just talking to you, and I see that, and I see it in you, knowing you. But you've had luncheons in the past, and we will come to the luncheon, and you tell the stories. And when you have the clients tell their stories, it makes it so much more powerful. And then they stand up in the audience, and they're there. It's like, wow, you don't realize how many people need your services. And I was talking to you the other day, and you said how many children use your shelter. Tell us about that.
Well, our shelter is for women and children and families. So we get single women, we get two-parent families, and we sometimes also have single dads with children.
Sure.
And we make sure that the children in our shelter have lots of opportunities to just be kids and not remember that they're in a shelter and going through that sort of trauma. Last year, we had 168 children stay in our shelter.
Wow. You don't think about that. A child's supposed to be playing with toys and not thinking about where they're going to sleep or what they're going to have to eat. That's incredible. I know you've gotten a lot of credit, and I want to tell you about that, share that with you. I know we had Jamie Gaskins in from the United Way, and he was talking about the need is so great. And he said there was, and you had told me, there was with the cuts that were being made and the tremendous cuts that you needed so badly. And then with COVID, everything else that happened, you didn't have the spots for the shelters. And then you came up with a great idea. Your team over there, of course, at Shelter of Flint, but you, I know, personally cared so much. Tell us how that happened. You made more room for people.
Oh, well, we made room for a warming center in our lower level this winter to serve more people, to be able to get people out of the cold when the community's warming center for families wasn't going to be available. We ended up doing this. The community had looked for a central spot to do this, and time was not working for us, and we had to think of something quickly. And our CEO one day said, hey, about our lower level, could we maybe do that there? And I said, I think it's the only place at this late date where we could successfully do this, because we were looking at empty buildings that we'd have to run wiring in and put in all sorts of services that weren't there. And we had everything we needed there already at our shelter. And while we had shelter staff, they couldn't really stretch as far as helping the warming center, so we had to hire a whole bunch of people in a very short time to operate this nighttime warming center. And over the course of the winter, we were scheduled to be open from December 1st to March 31st. We extended that because there was some inclement weather in the forecast, and we stayed open until the 20th of April.
Wow.
And during that time, we served 201 adults and 58 children who together stayed overnight in our lower level warming center for nearly 5,000 total bed nights.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible?
That's crazy.
Well, when you think about it, I think this is one of the coldest winters I've experienced in a long time. I mean, it was
And it started
bitter.
early.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
And it lasted a long time. Sometimes you might be under 20 below zero for one night. It was like an extended time. And pipes were freezing homes that had heat in them. So I can't imagine being with a child outside in those elements.
It's
unfathomable.
It's a very sad yet empowering thing to be part of, because we saw people coming in who, their things are in bags and they're trudging through the cold. They're getting rides over from Carriage Town where they had dinner, from the Center for Hope where they were in the day. And they're, walking into our shelter. And it's a tough thing to have to do, to gather up your stuff and go and move from place to place all day and night long. But it's obviously better than being out in the cold. But to be in that communal space and trying to function there, I think it's incredibly challenging. And the people who do come in, I think, are incredibly brave to do that.
Sure. That has to be, you have to swallow your pride to say, I need help, and go in there. When you have a child, you have to make sure that child has clothing and food and a roof over their heads.
Yeah, and one of the things that we were really successful in doing is when beds became available in our shelter, we were able to move people from the warming center into our shelter. Our shelter stayed completely full all winter long.
Wow.
And we just kept moving people from the warming center into it. And one of the things that's great about that is there are a lot of people who won't come to a shelter because they're afraid of losing their freedoms or being stigmatized in some way, or that communal living and having to get along with other people.
A fear, yeah.
And when they came out of extreme need to our warming center, they saw how our shelter operated, and they said, we trust you.
Aww.
We will come stay here. And so we've been able to get people into the shelter, and through the shelter, they get case management. They get support to help them move to a home of their own. And that's the goal with every single one of our programs, is to move people to a home of their own.
How rewarding. Where do you find these homes? How do you place them?
Well, that's the most challenging part, when there is a lack of affordable housing and when a large proportion of our county lives in poverty. There aren't a lot of choices for housing. And when people have evictions on their record, or they have large families, or they have mental health challenges, it becomes very difficult to find somewhere to live. And people who are on Social Security disability, for instance, one of our programs works to get people disability income when they qualify for it. And that's a long, arduous process. And to have someone by their side helping them get through it is a really incredible opportunity for them, because most people get turned down and they apply multiple times.
I was told you always get turned down the first time.
Yeah,
I don't know why. They just make sure you need it.
And we have a staff member, Zuzana, who works closely with individuals in that program to get them Social Security disability income, which is great, but then to find them a home when they're bringing in about $960 a month, and most landlords want to see 3 times the income as the cost of rent.
Yeah.
So that's a real challenge, to find somewhere for someone for $300 and some dollars a month, and for them to be able to live on that and be successful. So it's really challenging to find housing. Lots of people rely upon housing choice vouchers, which is a government-funded program. We have supportive housing units that are available for people who qualify for those. There's Flint public housing is available for people. There's waiting lists for all of these, though. And so people end up in our shelter for a really long time, or still living out on the street for a really long time if it's one of the men our outreach team is working with. When we get them into a house, that is really when it's time to celebrate. It's cause for celebration, because it is so hard to achieve. And our shelter numbers, we would serve so many more people if we could get them into housing. But people stay in our shelter for months because there's nowhere for them to go. I mean, we've had people in our shelter, large families, for over a year.
Oh my gosh. becomes home to them.
Yeah.
So what does happen, because you said it's full all the time, which I can imagine it is, and you have a warming center who's full, and you have a lot of other agencies that are full. What happens when they're all full? Do people just have to stay in the street and hopefully stay warm enough somehow? I mean, you can't accommodate everyone, so what happens?
It is pretty much the case that when the shelters are full, and they often are, and the warming centers are full, and they often are, there is just nowhere for people to go. We encourage people to reach out to family and friends, especially in extreme weather, to see if they can stay with them. But it's challenging, and sometimes people have to be turned away. We don't like to do that. We don't want to do that. If the fire marshal is listening, we never, ever go above capacity. But sometimes we have to because...
That's what I was wondering. Could you like bunk beds or something? Do something where you can like fit more people
Well,
in?
yeah, we use bunk beds already in our shelter. We have 70 beds for people in their bunk beds.
You know, I have a set of bunk beds. I just give them to you. Can I give them? Can you use them or not? That'd be brand
Unfortunately
new, right?
not.
Has to be brand new.
Well, they need to be metal. They need to meet certain requirements.
That's good to know. Mine are wooden. They're like they're white because they're girlies.
Yeah.
Okay.
We try not to have any wood or...
Well, it could be bed bugs. You don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, and once you get that, you can get rid of them.
Yeah.
So I understand that. Or termites.
Yep.
Or cockroaches and wood. I get that. What a shame, though. I mean, I know it's... Can you find people that will donate those like brand new ones? I mean, do you get
We
beds?
get funding to buy them.
Oh, good. That's a lot, Shelley. I don't know how you do it all. I mean, that's good. You got to take those stories home with you sometime, don't you? I mean,
Absolutely.
Especially if to turn somebody down. That's got to be so hard.
Absolutely.
Wow. And then I see buildings that are just vacant. And you think, why couldn't they do something with those? Like, let people go in there as a warming center and just let them. Well, they have to have, I guess, some kind of structure so people aren't hurt each other.
Yeah, we looked at a lot of vacant buildings as a possibility for our warming center, and the infrastructure just wasn't there to be able to do it. And the idea of just giving people a place that doesn't have infrastructure for them, a vacant building without running water. I mean, the idea of just giving people places is laudable, but it comes with a whole other set of challenges, like how do they maintain it? How do they get along in there together? Who's allowed in it? Right. I mean, we saw the tragedy of a fire of people who were congregating in a vacant house.
Oh, really?
This winter. Our warming centers were open. We wish they had come to us, but...
Yeah, how do they find out about it? I guess it's word of mouth, right? Maybe
yeah, I mean, there's lots TV, of information distributed, and the downtown homeless community talks a lot to each other.
Yes.
So word of mouth absolutely gets the information out there. And there are so many resources and so many agencies that people who are living unhoused touch, and those agencies we partner closely with, so they share that information as well.
Well, that's good. I know Sister Carol. I think you know her, Carol Weber. Just a sweetheart of a just wonderful, tiny little things, like a little angel. And she would go out in the streets and she would try to find people in challenging situations. Say, do you need some food? Do you need some shelter? Can I help you? And she said she and her other friend, who has passed away, the sister since then, she said they started like 20 years ago. They set up a little table and they had just like chips and hot dogs and some food for people. And a woman had come up to them and said, hey, do you happen to have any newborn baby boy clothes? She goes, I think so. Let me look. And she had a big, like a tub in the snow bank that she was trying to dig through. And the woman says, it's not for me. It's for a stranger I just met. She gave birth on her own in an abandoned home right next to us. So she said she went over there and got the baby. And they took them to the hospital to make sure they were okay. And the hospital said, yep, you guys are okay. You checked out okay, but we can't let you leave until you have a car seat and you have clothing and you have, they were going to make sure the baby had what it needed. And of course she didn't. She just gave birth on her own in an abandoned building. And that's when Sister Carol said, I need to do more for women. We need to do more for these people. They're in need of that. And that's when she started her shelter as well. And so I'm sure she tells people about your place, because when she gets full, she has to tell you them where to go. You know Sister Carol, obviously, right? With St. Luke's.
Yeah, I know the new center and the employment program that they have and the work that they do there.
Okay. I mean, you guys all work together, I know, to help people.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's incredible. Well, how can we help you? I mean, anybody hears these stories, they want to help. Volunteer, give money, donate. What can we do?
All of those things. Yep. Volunteer, give money, donate.
And so where?
Shelterflint.org/volunteer. You can fill out a volunteer application, shelterflint.org/donate. You can give and learn also about the types of items that we are able to accept.
That's what's important. That's good.
And if you'd like to learn more about the types of items that we're able to accept, I'd be glad to talk about that.
Yeah.
So,
sure, please.
we get lots and lots of calls from people who have their spring cleaning and they're getting rid of clothes,
Kids
or
outgrow
they're
their
getting
clothes,
rid of furniture. And they're often surprised when I tell them that we can't accept that.
They get angry. It's like, well, it's good stuff. Why don't
sometimes
you?
they get angry, but mostly surprised. And I kind of would like to explain the reason why that is. There are so many organizations out there that do really good work of distributing clothing, of distributing food, of making sure that people have the things that they need. We, because of funding, don't have the staff to process
Sort,
that.
clean, organize.
So if you donate a bag of clothes to us, someone has to go through that. Someone has to put that through a dry process.
Sure.
So that we're not bringing any
bed bugs, fleas,
anything into the shelter that could cause problems.
Sure.
And then it has to be stored somewhere until the time that someone who fits that size and needs clothes is in our shelter. So we keep a small amount of clothing on hand for people in need who don't have anything. Sure. But we refer our clients to other agencies to supply those sorts of things.
Okay, that makes good sense.
And then when it comes to household items, we don't have the ability to pick them up. We don't have the ability to store them. But what we can do is match donors with people who are moving into a new home. And if they're willing to deliver the items to the people moving into a new home, we match them up. We're little matchmakers.
Well, you also have the resources. I know my mom passed away. We gave a lot of things to the No Neighbor Left Behind, and they took everything she had. They took anything in the kitchen. They would take the mixers and the toasters and the air fryer, whatever, and the microwave, because No Neighbor Left Behind, they have a storage area, and they will take all those things, and they find people who need them. So there are other agencies and resources to do that. So as long as you're giving them a place to stay, that's huge. And so they know it's going to be a clean place to stay.
Clean place to stay, 3 meals a day, counseling services, programming for children and adults, a fabulous playground, and lots of opportunities for the kids and for the adults to participate in community.
And then you have, like you had said, Sister Carol helps with finding jobs sometimes. And so you have agencies that will help them find the clothing they need, the items for their house, or maybe a job.
Exactly.
Because she said somebody came in, they said, all I can do is really mow lawns. She goes, well, we need a lawn mowed. Come on, let's do it. So that worked out really well. And my neighbor wants to volunteer. He is an electrician. He's no longer licensed because he's retired, but he said he could go back and get the license, but he knows electricity very well. So he was going to go over there and teach the kids how to do electricity, which I thought that was going to be helpful too. And help there. Everybody needs help with some maintenance or carpentry or.
Absolutely.
So if anybody knows that kind of stuff, skills, could they help?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Fill out a volunteer application. Yeah. Note that you have those amazing skills, and we will put you to work.
And is there a phone number too, or just the email? Just the
website's the best bet. All of the information is right there.
Is there a Facebook page?
There is, yes.
So, because I know sometimes you do fundraisers. Is there anything coming up at all we should know about?
Our next event isn't until September. It's on September 24th. It's our Home of Their Own luncheon that we hold each year, where we share client stories. We work closely with ABC 12 and Angie Hendershot.
I love her.
And they put together a video of some of our clients' success stories. That's
what I saw. Yeah, that's the luncheon you talked about, right?
Yeah.
And I got my checkbook for that. I mean, because once you hear those stories, you just want to help out so much.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Our clients can overcome tremendous obstacles, and we're so proud when they are able to get into a home and stay there successfully, which is a whole other conversation about being able to stay successfully housed. And we've added a new program to help with that.
What's it called?
It's called the Aftercare Program.
Okay.
And what we do is once people are placed into a home, we follow best practices of our supportive housing model and make sure that they have a case manager who helps them to deal with any obstacles that come their way while they're housed,
good.
and to make sure that they stay housed.
You know, we went down to the Detroit area because they had, it's called the small or tiny houses, I think it's called. I was really impressed because we were driving down there in the bus. I thought, oh, I don't know if I want to get out. It's like a lot of burned out buildings. It looked kind of scary. And then we turned the corner and there was green grass and flowers and beautiful little tiny homes. And there was like a little subdivision there of just those little tiny homes. And what they did there I thought was wonderful because they taught everybody how to do their own maintenance. Every month you'd have a different class. It might be how to balance your checkbook, or how to plant some herbs in the backyard. And they all had the little water basin, so you use the water basin, so you can actually water the flowers with that. So it's not just going to waste, so you can actually use the water.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and then you all had a job. Everybody had a job. They had to mow the lawn.
We've looked at tiny house concepts, haven't found to be something that we can implement yet, but we do continue to look at that.
And it's more for I think the veterans or a single parent, a single family, people, because I think if you have a family of four, it might be kind of difficult.
Yeah, it is very difficult for our population in our shelter.
But I was really impressed that they did that right across from the Catholic shelter, the Catholic Charities. There's two homes. One was built by the Amish, and one was built by the Skill Center.
Oh, great!
Totally different look because they're built differently, but they were all so compact. And I didn't know this, but they make it like a little washer and dryer in one unit. Mm-hmm. They have them in England, and that's a lot less room that it takes. And they have solar power. They all have the solar panels for that. They're just really, they think about how to make things work for you and how to put things on top of each other. So it was really impressive. So
speaking of gardening,
yes,
our kids at our shelter each year put together a salsa garden. So they plant it, they tend it,
really?
And then they harvest it, and they have a salsa party with their parents. And we're really excited this year because the Junior League of Flint is sponsoring their salsa garden.
That's great.
So that's enabling them to buy all of the supplies to grow it this year.
Well, could they go a little further too and do some herbs and maybe potatoes, or you might grow vegetables and make their own meals? Is that too much? Sorry.
They
I guess
could.
Well, baby steps. I like the salsa. So what do you plant for salsa?
Roma tomatoes,
Jalapeno?
spring onions, and
Wait a minute, spring
cilantro.
onions. Are those the long green ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
And cilantro.
Yep.
And then
jalapenos,
a
aren't those?
pepper. Yeah, I think I'm not sure if they use jalapenos or something else. I bought the stuff last year, and I can't remember what the other thing is.
Do they sell the little kits then, and they put them together or not?
No, they have raised beds, and they buy the plants and small plants and plant them, and some of them we use seeds for, and they start the seeds early in the shelter, and then they transplant them into the raised beds.
You know what's good for that, I just learned, is the little not wooden, but they're like cardboard egg cartons, not the plastic ones, but the cardboard ones, because they can just disintegrate into the soil, and that way we can put the little seeds and dirt in those little containers and then have them grow up, take off.
There you go.
I like it. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know they're doing that. How long ago did they start that?
This is our third year.
Well, good for them. Are they actually eating it and liking it?
Oh,
and
yeah,
using it?
yeah.
But you got to buy the tortillas so you can dip it in there, right?
Oh, yeah. They're not growing the wheat or grinding corn or anything.
Not yet. Oh, that's funny. Well, thank you, Shelley. I know we took a lot longer probably than you wanted to because I know you're a busy girl.
I'm always happy to talk with you.
I know.
This is one of my favorite things to do.
Good. And I learn so much more from you, too, every time we talk. Don't you, too, Jay?
Yes, we do.
Now I want some salsa, don't you?
Yes,
I
did. I thought it'd be pretty tricky to grow salsa in a garden, especially how do you contain the sauce?
I know, the jars too.
It is a little messy.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Anything last you want to mention before you take off and get back to work?
Just thank you so much. And again, if anyone's interested in supporting our work, shelteroflint.org/donate.
All right. I love it. And Jay, what can they do if they want to be a guest on our podcast?
All they have to do is just email us, and that's podcast@mtaflint.org.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for being on the show. And thank you for listening every week. We do something special and wonderful that's going to help your life a little bit better here in the community of Genesee County. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to On the Road with the MTA. For more information on our services and community outreach, visit us online anytime at www.mtaflint.org. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. The MTA, your community, your connection, your way.